The other day, three drug fiends accused me of indecent exposure. What happened? One day, I had a short order, nature call, and I opened my side doors to the van. I closed the doors up to my person, and I got me my bucket and I urinated. So when I'm finished and I'm put up my stuff, closed the door, I'm moving away, one of the drug users or drug dealers said, "Hey, you weren't pissing there?" I said, "Man, I was just, out of emergency and thing." He said, "Man, you can't." I said, "Sorry, bro. Sorry, man. I didn't, urinate on the ground. It's just that you know what I'm doing because he's there, standing, sitting, and hearing the hissing." So he spoke to another guy who, when I came in town, I was driving a U-Haul, and he watched me kind of funny. And eventually I got this van now, and he still continued to watch me funny, but he's the drug dealer. He's be out there late at night. He called me one side. He said, "Man, what you did just now, man, don't do it again, bro. They have kids to be passing here, women to be passing here." Well, I said, "Man, I closed the door, man. I didn't expose, whatever." He said, "It doesn't matter, man. You don't do that again." I said, "Okay, bro." So I asked another guy who's a drug dealer. I said, "Yo, what do you think about this, man?" He said, "It's cool," but when he understood what I was saying clearly, he said, "No, man, that's a sexual crime. You could be arrested for that. All I'm telling me I could be arrested for it." So I went and looked up the law. It's California Penal Code 314. It prohibits the sexual act of indecent exposure, which is the exposing of one's genitals or the groin area to another person for sexual gratification, both you and the other person, either or to annoy the person. Now, I didn't do that. I turned my back, I took care of business, I closed the door very discreetly, and I moved on. And so I spoke to the third person who I talked to. I said, "Well, this is what the law says, man. I didn't do that. I didn't do that." So he don't want to hear it at all, so he just walked away. I said, "Okay." So when these guys are dealing drugs. They're dealing with the people who they see are hurt already. People twitching and behaving like the funny, the minds is kind of like itching them or whatever. They're kind of doing all kind of handicap antics and so on. And they're still selling more drugs. And they'll sell it to men, women, children. They'll sell it to anybody. So, it's like what the Bible says. You have a big stony eyes and you're trying to tell me about a little pebble in mine. And, it's not about judging, but they shouldn't be telling me nothing. They're whether I had done that or not, they're criminals. They must have got a couple of felonies. When you see people pushing drugs like that, they're felons. They have a whole bunch of felonies. However, while I was researching the California Penal Code on sexual indecent exposure, I saw where it's taken to the next level. If you're urinating in public, which I wasn't doing, you could also be charged with indecent exposure because somebody would have seen your penis or whatever, or the vagina or whatever. And it says that even holding your genitals outside of your clothing also could be considered indecent exposure. I don't know, they hadn't said where they put your hand in and playing with it like I see some guys doing. I think that also would qualify. And so I really think that we should extend indecent exposure to people who have the pants down and you see the underwear, you see the crack of the butt, the holding up the pants and so on, like if they're kind of stupid or something. I think we should take up the ante and make it a sexual crime. And the first time is cool. Second time, we got to register as sexual criminal, sexual deviant. And perhaps they'll catch the word because, here we have the technology of belt. Some of these guys have the pants down like that and they do crime and trying to run away from the cops. You know how that is go? Pants come down, the gun flying in the air and land on the face. You have also the one to fight. And, you have to use both hands now. And as soon as they hold it, to put up the both hands, the pants fall down as they move a little bit. And it's like your turn. But you don't want to beat them down, Just go and say, "Man, I don't want to fight with you, bro. It's okay. Thanks." Okay? So we ought to do that and get these fellas to start operating sensibly because this is America. And I don't know where this thing came from, but it seems to come from some dark, wayward, outrageous, no land place. And I see folks are gradually bringing on a whole bunch of behaviors that added on together, it's just making us look like a third world. And so we need to stop this pants down thing by include it into indecent exposure.